Hi folks, welcome to the Wednesday night stream. It is 1 day and 5 hours early, but it's always cool to show up early to a party, right? Now, yeah, I got kind of a half day off at work, so I thought, hey, I should stream at this weird time because I'll get some other people in other parts of the world, so that's cool. But you know what's even cooler? Check this out. This is the greatest thing ever. I finally got a solution to my camera woes. So I've got this camera, it's mounted on a ball joint, and that ball joint is on an arm, and I can take this arm and put it wherever I want. It just stays. Oh, it's so good. You guys, it's so good. Alright. So now that you know how good my camera is and how early I am, hey Sugar Free and Damon, Wrath, and Orlando Hipsters, welcome, welcome. This is what I'm working on today. Oh, tell me if the music is too loud for my voice. I don't know what the levels are. I don't know how to actually hear the levels that are going into my streaming software, so I'll need some feedback on that. So the last time I was designing a book cover. The time before that I was painting this guy's robe, and I was doing it with my really crappy camera, so it was really hard to see. So here it is on the beautiful camera, and you can see it a lot better. So now I'm going to do all his armor and metal bits. I'm going to do, I think, a mix of like bronzy gold and some silver here and there is the idea. And then his little rotating platform set up here. Damon says the music is fine. Dottie, hello. Orlando says, can't hear this, really low. What is this, the music or my voice? Here's a new level for the music where I can hear it like about half the volume of my voice, so it works out great for me, but let me know how it works for you guys. Okay, so let's see. Oh, right. The other thing I'm going to be doing is attaching him. So he's got these little loops on his belt. Come on, focus. Yeah, he's got these loops on his belt, and there are loops on his chariot thing. What is a basket on a chariot called? Whatever that is. And so the idea is he's chained in so that as his steed is bouncing around and jumping, he's not going to be like flown out of it. Alright. I'm going to be using AK True Metal paints. They're my favorite for doing miniature work. So I've got gold. I've got some old bronze, some copper, old bronze, silver. So I probably won't use copper. Probably silver, old bronze, and gold. And then this stuff gets thinned down with odorless mineral spirits, or white spirits if you're in the UK. I think they're the same thing. So I'm just gonna have a little bit there. And let's see. I'll probably start with the old bronze because that's gonna be the least contrast and probably in the lowest areas of the armor. Orlando Hipster is sad. Everyone enjoy. I will share this. What are you not hearing? Or I don't know why you're so sad. You can't hear anything? Because some people were having trouble hearing anything last stream too, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if you're saying that you can't hear me over the music or if you can't hear me at all, because now I'm a good distance away from my microphone, which is this camera. Last time it was like right next to my mouth, and that just distorts everything. Um, so yeah, I would love to know what's going wrong. And hopefully I have a good way to... Yeah, okay. Now I could delete songs that are annoying or not cool from my playlist, and they won't come up next time, in theory. Carl Zotter says, I can hear you fine. The Treasure Hunter, I hear you fine. Okay. So for some reason, some people just are having troubles, and that makes me sad. I wish I knew why, and I wish I knew what to do, but there's only so much I can do. Okay, I'm gonna need a fairly smallish brush here. Probably something along these lines. Alrighty, let's use my newfound glorious powers of camera movement to get all right up in there. So I haven't decided yet if I want to do like different elements of his armor, different colors, or if I want them all to be kind of bronzy gold. I think what I'll do is I'll do bronzy gold over everything, and then if I want silver as an accent, I can do that. Now, why did my music just stop? Uh-oh, this sounds annoying too. Damon says, I can hear you just fine, but the music is so low as to be non-existent, if that matters to you. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to just have a little bed of music. Try turning it up to here. Tell me how this is. Except the song is annoying. You get rid of the song. Where's my delete? Delete. Okay. All right, let's do some actual art, shall we? I'm wondering if I should have done a different base color for the dark parts of the armor, because I don't know if I want it going from pure black to like bronze immediately. I guess one thing I could do is do some super thin down. Oh, where's it gonna go? Here it is. I could do some super thin down bronze in the cracks. Just soak my brush in the thinner, and then let that flow into all the little cracks with capillary action. That way there'll be some coverage, but it shouldn't be enough to ruin all the nice dark cracks, in theory. Treasure Hunter said, I prefer it without the music. Alright. I think one of the reasons I like a little bit of subtle music is just so I don't feel like pressure to have to just constantly be talking. Sometimes I need to focus, or I just can't think of anything interesting to say. Normally pretty good at prattling on and on, but yeah. And then, you know, some people are fine with just watching and not hearing an artist prattle. And that's cool. Nope, sorry, my hand's right in the way there. Treasure Hunter said, looks somewhat like the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz. LOL. Subtle music is okay. Damon says, this is the love child of Final Fantasy Red Mage with the Wicked Witch. Could very well be. Those are both, well, certainly the Red Mage was an influence on my childhood. And, you know, I saw The Wizard of Oz when I was pretty young, so probably made some kind of impact on my psyche. I love the original Final Fantasy wizard designs, which I guess they got back to in Final Fantasy 9. Was it 8 or 9? I think it was 9. And just that like giant sombrero wizard hat thing. Just love that look.
Sometimes thinking right, sometimes thinking wrong, sometimes think too much, sometimes think too long. An understatement is that I'm a mess. Dream about you, but I must confess I might just be lonely. Don't want to think about the time when songs about fantasy I had about some guy I saw when I was out. Is it just another of my stupid games? Dream and wander till I go insane because I'm lonely. Time will tell if you're only a dream. If not, then why don't you come up to me? Tell me your story, I will believe. Listen, my darling, we're lonely, but we don't
Got a little bit of gold leaking onto the road there. Let's fix that up.
Just want to see your face.
Okay, yeah, this is fine. So when you thin it out, because the capillary action wants to suck it in for all the little cracks, that is the downside to doing the dark areas and the light areas with one type of paint at the same time.
Well, I've been obsessive and I've been naive, yeah. I built it up and now I cannot breathe. I may be crazy, but I still believe.
I'm really happy with how detailed the 3D print was. It was able to get that little logo on the belt.
Because you want me to. Time will tell if you're only a dream. If not, then why don't you come up to me? Tell me your story, I will believe. to be.
It's that I have this little flip thing on. I keep tapping it 24 hours. Flip it off.
We're lonely.
Damon confirms it was Final Fantasy IX, with Vivi being the black mage type. Treasure says, do you sell miniatures, and if so, for how much? I do not sell much of anything right now. I'm working on getting to the point where I can sell some stuff. I got a website, and actually, I mean, I got t-shirts and stuff, and like mugs and stuff you can buy. But here's a beautiful black metal version of Star Wars The Force Awakens mug. I can't get that in focus. You can see it has this is like a black metal logo, but it actually says Star Wars, kind of in the shape vaguely of a TIE fighter shooting at you, and then characters from The Force Awakens, but they're all in corpse paint, including little BB-8. And instead of a thumbs up with one flame, he's doing like a goat metal sign. It's kind of hard to make out on this mug. I think I want to redo this graphic so it's a little brighter, easier to see. Anyway, that's the kind of random crap I have right now, but eventually I will have sculptures for sale and books. The first book is almost ready for sale. Damon says Freya was the red mage type. Sidon says, oh cool, it's the gold trimming. Yep, I decided to go gold. I was convinced. What's funny is this is actually a pretty dull bronze, but already it's really popping. Really looking great coming off of that red. Damon says, music is drowning you out. We'll never find a good middle ground. Dottie says, yeah, it's a little loud. Okay. Let's see what happens, and I put it here. Now it's halfway between the halfway. Dottie says, did your mom enjoy joining in on the live stream the other day? Yes, she did. She had a grand old time. Oh, it was great. We'll definitely be doing that again. They usually come up to visit every month or so. So I'd like to do a stream with her whenever she's up. I love how well this metal just coats right over black and instantly becomes like super shiny and cool. Dozer88, I'm glad you caught the live stream as well. I thought I'd catch some folks that can't normally make it by popping on a weekday 5 hours earlier than usual. Pretty sure I'll still stream tomorrow night too, but I had an opportunity, I thought I should take it. Oh, sorry if I'm getting a little laggy for you guys. The internet's been a little spotty here. There's a lot of windstorms in Washington right now, and that always makes our electricity and internet get spotty. Treasure Hunter said, did you go to art school? Yes, I went to the Art Institute of Seattle. I do not recommend it. When I went, there was no internet where you can get free information about every art form like there is now. I've got a son who's doing computer art type stuff, some game art stuff and some video editing and that kind of stuff, and I am not encouraging him to go to art school. Which could be horrible advice, I don't know. It's the best I know at this particular juncture. Damon says, I miss painting. I haven't painted since Ralpartha was still a thing and miniatures were still primarily pewter. Oh wow, it's the olden days. Treasure Hunter says, so what were your primary resources for learning to sculpt? Primary resources, pretty much trial and error. I've just been doing it since I was 11 or 12. I mean, since I got into the game industry, actually I shouldn't even say that. I guess in the last like 10 years of being in the game industry, I've worked with a lot of sculptors, and I've certainly learned by just working alongside them. So it wouldn't be fair to say I'm completely self-taught, but certainly for the first 15, 20 years of sculpting, I was self-taught. Treasure Hunter says, art school didn't help. Well, so I went to the Art Institute of Seattle, and I didn't really want to be an illustrator. I wanted to do something sculpting. I really thought it'd be cool to do animatronics for movies. And in their little brochure, they kind of mentioned that that's a thing you could do if you got a degree in industrial design. So I went into their industrial design program. And while there was some model making type stuff, there wasn't really any sculpting classes. It was like, well, you can sculpt or you can't. So, no, I really didn't learn much sculpting at the Art Institute. I don't know if their fine art program would have more of that. thinking I might leave most of his jousting rod here as black iron. Just do the accents in gold. I want something that ties into his chariot, which I want to do just like black metal with accents of scraped silver. Treasure Hunter says, wow, that is too bad considering the cost of attending art school. Yeah, that is too bad. I say that I spent about, God, I don't remember what it was, $50,000, whatever. I just got an associate's degree, fortunately. But I spent whatever that amount of money was to learn a very valuable lesson, but one I probably could have learned otherwise, which was don't accept your first design. Don't start putting a ton of time and effort into your first idea. If you love your idea, iterate on it. And it's quite possible you'll come back to your first idea later, but having gone through the process of iterating many times, I've learned that that's very rare that my first idea was the best idea for a particular project, or design element, or color scheme, or, you know, whatever else. Ah, darn. I'm going to take a lot of touch-up. I might be able to minimize that if I can. So just use some mineral spirits and a clean brush to erase parts that got overflow, or at least smooth it out some. Air Aquila says, from my own experience with art school at various educational levels, it boils down to what you make of it. And what I have found lacking is how to do what you want as a business. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. I threw myself into all my projects. I went way overboard. I overscoped on literally everything, and, you know, probably every other night was an all-nighter. So I definitely put my all into it, but it just wasn't what I hoped it would be. I thought I would be building giant dragon heads with blinking eyes and stuff like that, and I never got to do that. Damon says, I was an art major and became a landscaper. I painted with plants. Oh, there you go. Treasure Hunter says, do you use airbrush? Or, sorry, ZBrush? I use airbrush and ZBrush, yes. Yeah, this guy was sculpted in ZBrush. And then printed through shapeways.com. Yeah, speaking of ZBrush, the next time my mom comes up, I think I'd really love to do a creature design workshop kind of thing where we'll lay out the like the design parameters of the creature we're working on and just start from scratch and start roughing in the elements of one of the newest additions to the Talifar series. I think that'll be really fun. Dang, that looks nice, that gold on black. Treasure Hunter says, I love your Sculpey tutorial. Have you ever considered doing a ZBrush tutorial for beginners? You know, I feel like there's so much of that out there already by really great people who explain it really well. I don't think that's something that's lacking in the same way that I felt like good beginner Sculpey stuff was lacking. So and also it's one of those things where I've been using ZBrush for so long and I'm not necessarily up on all the latest like best practices, so I could inadvertently be teaching beginners like bad process so, or the worst, slowest way to do things. So I do not want to do that. Damon says, have an ETA on the ebook. About to finish a book and wondering if I should start another. How long does it take you to finish a book? I think I still am definitely pushing to get this out by the end of the year, but which gives me what, 6 weeks? So yeah, I don't think it's going to be any sooner than 6 weeks. That's something smart I did. I printed it with this hole, and I just used a skewer to make the rest of the staff. 3D printing is not cheap, so if there's something that I can easily add to it afterwards, you know, a big element like that, a big simple element, it's pretty stupid to actually just print that. Unless you've got a ton of money and really are strapped for time. Treasure Hunter says, is your mother an artist as well? She is an author. She actually does some kind of a little more abstract sculpture type stuff, but her primary thing is being an author. She's had a couple novels published, sci-fi novels, and she's been writing novels in the world that I've been designing. So she's kind of an author and collaborator on designing my world. If you go to the last live stream, you can see us working together on designing the book cover for the first book that should be coming out, the one I was just talking about. Damon says you should have time for another book. Also, since I remembered, was it you, Dottie, that linked to your son's music? Treasure Hunter says the gold on black really does look good. Agreed. Dottie says, yes, my son's band is Epicenter. Jess, I meant to go check out. I think his little power glove hand here. I'm gonna try to do something that looks like teeny tiny red jewels on each of these little knuckle bits, because he's supposed to be controlling the hand. So there'll be little rings on each finger that correlate with the little magical stones that he has on his gauntlet. So he's directly puppeting the hand he's writing on. Amy says, hi, you're early today. Yep, I'm 1 day and 5 hours early. I ended up working a half day and thought, hey, I might as well, if I'm going to be working in the garage, I might as well stream it and try to catch some people who can't get the normally scheduled streams. Treasure Hunter said, who came up with the background to the story you and your mother are working on? I came up with the background, like the bare bones of the story, which was really, as I was designing the world, I really needed a story that was very much an exploration story, you know, like a traveling journey quest type thing, because that's how you flesh stuff out. It's a forcing function. It makes you have to think through, okay, so he's come to this new place, what's different about this place than the place he's from, and what kind of customs are there, religion, food, economy, all those world building questions that are easy to ignore. You're forced to think those through when you're writing about them in a story. So the basic thing I came up with was, this guy is basically forced to be sent on a quest to collect 10 treasures from 10 different kingdoms. And, kind of video gamey. And my mom came up with a really clever way to make it seem like a realistic, plausible thing that could actually happen, instead of, just a super cheesy, like, here's some random quest to go on. So that is the beauty of collaboration, is when you can find people that can yes and your stuff, the classic what is that comedy called? Improv maxim. You're supposed to say yes and so my mom was able to take that concept and say, okay, so he's going on a quest to get 10 things. Is he a thief? Like, is he just this immoral creep who's going around stealing all the valuable things? And is that the kind of story we want to tell? Is that the kind of character we want to make? And that forced a bunch of other questions. So anyway, yeah, I'm really excited about the solutions we came up with that make it very non-generic and fun. And for the record, our protagonist is not a thief or a creep. He's got a very good reason for doing what he's doing, and he's trying his best to do it in the most heroic way possible, as opposed to just stealing stuff. And for a good reason, which he's got to do it to save his people. Let's see, so he's got a pointy little shoe and a hat. I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to do. Probably the hat, because I can hold on to this to do a shoe. But if I do the shoe, I'm going to end up touching it when I'm doing the rest of it. Start on the back. Treasure Hunter says, is it science fiction, fantasy fiction, or a combination of the two? It is aesthetically fantasy, but it is conceptually and at its heart like post-apocalyptic science fiction. It's humans who have been trapped on another planet for thousands of years, who have lost their access to their high technology that brought them there. And so it's not high fantasy, there's no actual magic, but there's remnants of technology that are perceived to be magical. And our hero finds one such device, and that becomes his super awesome weapon that helps facilitate him in his quest. Damon says, I used to use that heavy-duty ticky-tack and a short dowel to stick miniatures on while I painted. My sweaty hands would always strip paint. Yeah, that's a good point. I can see I'm already getting some discoloration on the top of the hat there, although it looks like weathering, so I'm pretty okay with that. Treasure Hunter says, Damon, if you don't mind answering this question, did you sell your miniatures? And if so, for how much? I don't know, man. Selling, like, takes so long to do a good miniature painting job. I don't know how anyone can get what they're worth. If you spend 10 or 20 hours on one figure, how do you and you want to get a decent return on that, like more than a fast food worker's wage, seems like the amount of clients who'd be willing to pay that per miniature would be pretty small. Treasure Hunter says, oh yeah, I forgot to say that sounds like a very interesting storyline. Cool, thanks. I hope it is. I should show you guys the cover. I'm almost done with it. Pretty happy with where it's at now. I'll do that when I'm done with the metal on this guy. Damon says, back when I was heavy into painting, I sold my service. This was back in the day when L5R was big. They would buy the miniatures and I would paint them. Depending on the detail they wanted and how big it was. Damon, did you try to set a particular amount you would get an hour and base it off of that? I got one piece of hardware that I'm waiting on, and that will allow me to pose my LED light exactly where I want it, and I'll be able to get better lighting when I do super close-ups like this. Although my camera is compensating pretty darn well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot of touch-up on these in the upper part of this pat. Treasurer says, well, unfortunately I have to go. Glad to have the opportunity to watch you work and chat with you. Have a great evening. You too, Treasure Hunter. Thanks for stopping by. No. I'm gonna do a little silver. Where'd my silver go? Here we go. Do some chipping on the black iron chariot. Araquilla says, what are we currently listening to? It's a band called The November Commandment, and the song is called High. I went through my music collection and went to YouTube's list. Like, you can type in the name of the song and see if it's claimed by anyone. And so I just threw everything I found that wasn't claimed by anyone into a giant playlist, and it's randomly shuffled. And as a result, there's a lot of really terrible stuff mixed in with a few good or interesting things. So I wish I could just put on music that I like and it would just be like, hey, here's an ad for that stuff, click on it and you can buy it here, and then it'd be cool, but that's not the way YouTube works. Okay, I'm going to use I want to use kind of a stiffish brush that's got, I need like semi-control. Maybe something like this could work. Okay, so I'm going to start with most of the paint off of here. Start on the bottom. Almost get even more of it off. Kind of practicing with this brush to see if it's going to work for me. Might be a little too wide. Because I don't want every single edge to be worn the same way. I want to be able to direct where the wear and tear goes. Yeah, I'm going to try a smaller brush. Yeah, the way the bristles are spread out like that, it does a good job of giving me an uneven, scratchy surface. That's probably a little too much. Try having this thinned out quite a bit. Just kind of lay down a little bit of wetness on there first, and then see what happens when I go in with less thin stuff. I mean, the nice thing is that this is such a, the undercoat is so simple, it's, you know, literally just black primer, that it's, if I don't like what I end up with, I can just reprime it and try again. It's kind of an interesting thing. So if I have my brush really wet to start with, and then saturate it with paint, so it's like semi-wet, semi-dry, you get a pretty good control over how much I'm getting down just by how hard I press on the brush. Linda, hello, glad you made it. Surprised you, surprise day, surprise time. There are two things that nobody expects. First, obviously, is the Spanish Inquisition. And the second is a Tuesday afternoon live stream from Josh Foreman. I'm not totally happy with how this chipping is turning out. I might have to look up tutorials on like worn black metal. Maybe they need to have some rust mixed in there. Either way, I'm going to be spattering like dirt, mud, and dust up onto it to give it some battle-worn look. Amy says this is quite a contrast to the ethereal song previous. Side effect of shuffling, indeed. It's a Josh Foreman Jack in the Box. A Josh in a box. Well, I did used to work at Jack in the Box, so it makes sense that that would rub off on me. Oh, I love this song. This is from a band called The Last Dance, and the song is Terribly Win. Actually, I think I really like this whole CD. Yeah, what's going on up here is not great. Oh, that's interesting. They just kind of block the whole thing out with super standout silver. That seems to be a better look. At least it blends in the scratches much better. Yeah, actually, it might be kind of cool to do like these little inset areas as kind of more silvery blades. Let me give that a try. Starting on the back. Definitely going to require some good weathering after the fact. Use a different brush for this. A little more concentrated bristles. Be a lot faster to lay this silver down. Damon says, wouldn't the wearing mostly be inside where people rubbed against? Or are you trying to imply it's sharpened? Yeah, I'm implying that this is sharpened for when they are bashing into each other or large creatures during their competitions and hunts. think I'm definitely going to be doing some rust on these sharpened blades. Araquilla says, you might need to make a What's Playing Now overlay. I'm finding a lot of this dark wave music way catchy. That was Null Factor, Inner Sense. Yeah, I was looking for an app to do that, and my Google Foo was failing me. I don't know if they don't exist or...
It's going to be very difficult for you to understand it.
Actually, come to think of it, I could just put a little portion of my screen that has the thing that's playing in a little box, couldn't I? Yeah, actually, I'm almost done with the silver part, and then I'm going to show you guys the book cover and see if I can get the music shown up there. This is another great band. Well, it's one artist. Goes by Monolithic. And this song has the incredibly creative title of 0406.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
From now on, we are enemies, you and I.
Damon said, if you really want to make it battle worn, whack a couple times with a knife to get some dents and chips. Yeah, I had done some kind of carving and sculpting to bang up the edges a bit. But you're right, there's no real like chips in the blade parts. There's just like the tines up here have been either dented or broken off in places.
From now on, we are enemies, you and I.
I gotta figure these guys are probably like going toe to toe with like rock trolls and dragons and stuff like that, so they would definitely get like slammed up against really hard things that would dent and batter these blades.
I know you're up. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us.
Aquila says, that is the musical spot that hasn't been scratched in a long time. Haven't been listening to Darkwave recently. Alright. Let's do a little housekeeping here, shall we? So, I can show a display capture, and I can drag my display capture, and okay, I can scale it, but can I choose just one little part of it? That's the question. Multi-adapter capability, no. Defaults, no. If I got my music all the way up here. Nope. That's not gonna work. Actually, I guess if I got it all the way there and then moved it over here, still has a bunch of crap in the way. I'll have to look into this later. But let me show you guys the book cover that I was working on the last live stream, where it ended up in the past couple of days. I'm gonna go to my Breath of Life Art Studio Facebook page. You can do it. Oh, come on. Stay over there. Why is that so hard for you? Watch me fail at Windows. Wow. Wow. Come on. Why are you forcing me into full screen? Okay. I have to hit that button. Here we go. So anyway, yes. There's where it's almost done. I was able to add some like blue tint to the back of the face. I did the background bluer. Yeah, we decided to go with this tagline, Desperate Quest, Deep Scars. For now, seems to set the tone and the mood and let people know that this is not a history of Greece. So yeah. Okay, back to work. Amy says, I feel like this style of music to me is like the friend who you would talk to in a class where you don't know anyone else. Not your direct friend circle, but fun to be around. Is there a window capture option? Yeah, I'm probably, I don't know what it is. And says the blue backlighting is really nice. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so I wanted to do some silver bits on this guy. I think I need some fresh silver. Aquila says, looks absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. Dottie says, that looks really nice. I like the font you chose. Yeah, I think it's good. I'm crossing my fingers that I'm not going to end up finding that it's already used by some big IP that I don't know of. But so far I haven't found it. I wish there was a way to Google by, things that use this font. I mean, I tried typing that in, things that use Lightfoot font, and didn't come up with anything. I found lots of people with the name Lightfoot, and lots of things that say Lightfoot in a different font, but I have not found anything that's like, turns out Warhammer 40k uses Lightfoot, or turns out Dungeons and Dragons Module 4 uses Lightfoot, or anything like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to do all the little phalanges on his armor in silver. You might need to... Thinking I might have to surround them with black in order to make them pop. On the other hand, I don't know that having them be subtle is a bad thing. Araquilla says, yeah, you'll probably have to select the media player's window as a source on its own and crop it down to just what you want before adding it to the whole. Yeah. You probably figured that out offline. Probably need a finer brush for most of this area. Oh man, this is like hold your breath and stop your heart beating to get into this little spot. Whew, I think I made it. Now I'm realizing that I made the little fingery phalanges on his chest plate silver, but the little phalanges on his hat are gold, and that's really bothering me. I'll have to think about that for a little bit. Maybe it just doesn't matter. I guess another option is I could do the finger parts gold, but the knuckle parts silver. But then that kind of conflicts with these knuckle parts being gold. Let's see, what am I doing on the hands? I could do the hands gold, fingers, silver, knuckles, and that could be the theme. Yeah, I think I'll do that. No, wait. But then these knuckles are gold, but they're on black, not silver, so maybe that's an okay differentiator. Damon says I was never ashamed when I had to break out the single bristle brush to get those super tiny areas. Eric Willis says make only the claw bits silver too. Oh, like the ones coming off his hat. That could be interesting. Let's see what happens when I do. That's kind of cool. And let's see if I do the little knuckle bumps in silver. Yeah, I'm liking that. Quilla says, looks totally planned. Awesome. It's improvisation, which is my improvised way of saying improvisation. I'm gonna make his main gauntlet part gold. I guess I could just have most of his hand part gold, these parts silver. Yeah, the theme seems to be the silver is kind of the top part of stuff. Probably gonna have to do a lot of touch up after I try to put gold under this. Also undecided on what to do on the steering wheel board thing. I imagine making it feel like it's a part of that is what I want to do, so I'd probably do that same kind of thinned out silver. Yeah, I think once I do a wash over that, that'll probably look pretty good. Okay, let's go back to the gold real quick. Try to fix this. Fix his gauntlets. Harrison, hello! Hola! Let me get tricky again. Whoops. Accidentally got silver on there. Definitely erring on the side of leaving a little bit of black between my silver and gold. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. Let's see, I forgot to put some of the silver up on there. Actually, I guess to keep thematic, I could go silver on his other gauntlet on his, what is this thing called? Jousting staff. That way all rivets are silver. That makes my OCD feel better. Which someone helped me come up with a better word for OCD because I do not have an official diagnosis. What was that word? Don't say anal, I hate that word. Probably because of OCD. Oh no, I got silver on the tip of his hat because I'm getting silver on my fingers. Damon is saying the tenderizer trademark. The name for his skewer. JD, hey, welcome. Says, did not expect to see you streaming on Tuesday. That gold really looks good. Thank you. Yep, I'm streaming on a Tuesday because I got off work early. And I figured I might as well try to get some people who can't make it during the normal hours. But I'll still be back tomorrow. This is just a bonus episode. Yeah. Crap, I'm getting silver all over all the highlights where I'm grabbing them. Which is probably why people who do this well mount them on little sticks and stuff like that. But I think I can just do a dry brush of my red over it and it should fix it. Doing a really bad job on these little guys. Alright. There's one other thing I was thinking I needed to do. What was it? Araquilla says orderly pattern satisfaction. Would that be OPS? Amy says, or just compulsive or obsessive compulsive. Anything, as long as it doesn't say disorder, would work probably. Araquilla says, if you abbreviated or PASA, it even has a nice cling to it. Or PASA? I will never remember that. Oh, that was the, okay. Last bit of metal I wanted to do was little magical sigils. Edge here. Quiet Storm, welcome. There's literally a quiet storm happening outside my garage right now. Well, it's quiet from in here in the garage, but I can hear it out there, and it is definitely making my internet spotty. Inode, hello. All right, I think I'm ready to try to find my red. Uno momento, por favor. Hey, that was fast. I think this is my red. I'm going to try to use a fresh brush that has not been tainted by the evil of metal. Oh, I should probably also wipe my hands off, huh? Air says, ah, that's right, the Opasa, so soothing. Okay, where can I hold this where I will not ruin it? Should I? Maybe I should just stick a thing in there. I'm just gonna stick a thing in there. 1 second. Here's a thing. I'm gonna stick it in there. It should be a game show. Hold it. Not quite. Yeah, I can use some silly putty, I guess. JD says, I wonder if the silver would sand off if you were careful. Maybe. Aircooler says, oh no, editing opinion. I messed up on that sentence a bit. Clock's creeping ever closer to 3 a.m. Oh wow. You're a real trooper. Staying this late. Okay, so we got some silly putty. Have to stick that silly putty up his dress. And I can stick this guy all up in there. Is that? It doesn't hold very well. I need something that's not a perfectly round thing. Good. Okay. That's good. Yeah, staying up till 3 a.m. on a weeknight, that is extra impressive for sure. I don't think you guys can see it very well, but one thing having that silver coat on the highlights does is then when I put the red over it, it really makes the red highlight pop. Because it's got just a little bit of that silver residue showing through, I think. That's interesting. I wonder if that's a miniatures painting technique that I have not heard of before. Or if I just invented it because I'm brilliant! Air says, late shifts this week. Makes it possible. Ah, okay, that's good. I'm glad you're not getting up at 6 a.m. or something. Okay, now I need my very, whoops, finest brush I can muster to go in and like paint black over little areas where the metallic seeped around. And I keep just dumping this all over. Okay. Oh, that's right. I got a real cup so that I wouldn't have to use chintzy plastic cups all the time. Look at that. Pro tip. Put your brushes in a real cup and they won't keep dumping over. I just made that up. It's trademarked. Josh Foreman, 2017. Okay. Is this fine enough? I don't think so. I think I may have all my super fine brushes in the living room because I was using them for illustrating. Oh, wait, what's this? Yeah, that's super fine. Oh, I also need black paint. Seeing as how I intend to paint black. And do I have water?
Well, if y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes. And if y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes. If y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes. And if y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes.
Alright, stop touching it. Okay. I don't want to water this black down too much or it's not going to cover like I need it to. But when it's straight out of the pot, it is obnoxiously thick. So probably just going to have to do several coats.
If y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes. If y'all get confused, remember pants first and then shoes. Except when you're getting undressed, shoes first then best. Except when you're getting undressed, shoes first then best.
Amy says, in other news, in school I'm taking Japanese and some exchange students came over today. They brought over really nice brush pens for our class and now I will never be productive ever again. Brush pens? That sounds awesome. Tell them konnichiwa for me. I might do some watered down black in the cracks here. The metallic that ended up seeping into it was a little more than I'd hoped for. And by more than I hoped for, I mean less than I hoped for. More paint than I wanted. Let's put it that way. Don't want to lose all that sculpted detail that I sculpted in there. Oh, I forgot to make that dot silver. If I was painting in hard mode, I would have to reprime it and start over. But I don't paint in hard mode very often. Yeah, this black is not doing a great job at covering the metallic, because I have enough water to actually make it flow a little bit, but that in turn thins it out too much. Not super happy with what's going on his glove back here. And he says, what would Dark Souls level painting be like? Well, there would be bonfires you can stop at to save your progress, so you wouldn't have to completely start over every time you mess up. But you would probably have to use very precise timing in your strokes or you would mess up. I think I might make this glove a little better if I darken between the little ridges. Oh wow, that reminds me, I had some red. Where was it? Ah, there's some red I need to fix on his robe there that got covered with silver. And there's red that got on that part that needs to be gold. Ah, and I loaded up with silver. It needs to be gold. Alright, was I able to do gold and not hit the robe? I think so. Hooray. But yeah, and I needed to fix that one bit of thing that needs to be silver, not gold. Oh yeah, and I was going to paint gold over the little pines. Sorry guys, I tried to weed out most of the death metal, but it looks like some got through. Alright. Silver. Damon says, man, that would be amazing. Save scubbing to try out different ideas. Yep, and Amy says that's what digital art is. And Damon says never really got into digital stuff outside of map building. Era says Games Workshop paint. Last time I bought pots, they had developed a lot of new consistencies of various parts of the process. But I remember the old ones that had that semi-liquid, fairly pigmented paints and ink washes. Yeah, I think a lot of my paints are like many years old. Because I don't paint that often. Amy says, I like the versatility, but I jump back and forth quite a bit. Yep, depending on the project, sometimes I will be very digital, sometimes organic, and sometimes mixed, like I'm doing now. Air said they were really sensitive to diluting, so creating washes was easy. Would need a few more coats to cover completely, though. Yep. Yep, yep. Okay. Got all my silvers in the right place. Got all my golds. Oh, I gotta go back and touch up a few of these silver dots. Oh, I see some more red I need to go in and reestablish. Alright, I think he's ready for some dust and dirt spattering. Let's see, I've got some pretty good browns for this. Try a little bit of this first. They're actually painting. A little bit. Now what I find works really great for spattering organic stuff is using using a little alcohol to thin it, and it kind of breaks the paint up into it like separates the pigment from the binder, which makes it gives it a really maybe just organic feel. Spatter some. I'm gonna try to spatter some. It's spattering somewhere. It's not spattering well. Maybe I need to water it down better. It's better if I just dab it in this case. Those are way too big of blobs. Come on. That's the spatter I was looking for. Now it has hardly any paint in it. Try some lighter brown. This is the cup that has alcohol in it, so when I dunk it in here, it's getting like super diluted. There's some places where it's getting, like the blob it made is so big, it's just unrealistic, like that blob right there. So I just go and I touch it with the alcohol on a brush, so it usually breaks it up, and then by the time the alcohol dissolves, it's just a nice patchy sort of look on there. Although I think I don't have it diluted quite enough. Yeah, I don't want the large droplets because that throws off the perception of scale. I think that's pretty good. I'm not sure if I want to do some kind of design on his thing or not. I'll leave it black for now. I might do a dry brush of silver over it. Actually, you know, I got the silver. I might as well do a dry brush of silver on it. See how that looks. If I don't like it, I can black it over. I don't know if I like the idea that this is like looks kind of like metal, because jousting skewers I don't think were ever metal. I think they were wood with like metal guards around the hands. But I don't have any other wood elements, so I don't know if that would kind of look out of place if it looked just like natural wood. On the other hand, it could be painted wood, but it would not be painted silver. Like, I can see some of the wood grains, so I think I want to make it look. I want to lean into the fact that it's supposed to be wood. I don't know. Amy says, need to go now, see everyone later. See ya, Amy. How does this look in place? On this way. That's easy enough to change if I need to. Okay, I think I'm going to set this aside for a minute. Although if this is silver, then I'll want this to be silver as well. Yeah, I think I want to go back to black. I thought about maybe doing like a spiral of red on it. I may give that a try after this black dries. Alright, speaking of shades, I've got some shades here. I think I'll start with Agrax Earth Shade. See what that ends up looking like. Get some of this road dust kind of color up all over here first. Really stiff brush is not the best for applying a shade. Arrow says, "Ooh, that's a really good paint." Are you talking about the shade, Agrax Earth Shade? like what that's doing on that silver. Do you see that? Check this out. Okay. Well, not when it pulls up like that. But when I pull it away, it's like leaving little spots where like some of the silver is a little shinier than in others. That looks really cool. I'm really wishing I put on gloves first now. Yeah, shades are awesome for just bringing everything together. It's like an adjustment layer in Photoshop or After Effects. Alright, that's cool. I don't think I need to wait for that to dry before I kind of spatter it. Got all my spatter stuff out anyway. Air says, alright, phone's running out of juice and I'm running out of juice. Will you post a picture of your sculpture somewhere once it's finished? Yes, this sculpture is going to be in my next tutorial in the intermediate polymer clay series, because I'm going to be sculpting this hand, and this sculpture is what's sitting on top of it, so you'll definitely see it. Have a good night. I love this technique. I'm sure other people know about it, but I discovered it myself. It's just super thinning down acrylic paint with alcohol and then spattering. You just get this really wonderful organic look. It's like the closest thing that I've found to doing a grunge layer in Photoshop, where you just take like a grunge texture and stamp it over parts of your image. Alright. I think I can set up my chains now. Emerson Peterson says, "Hey Josh, I really admire how artistic you are. I used to draw in paint, but I stopped because I'm a perfectionist and my art would never meet my expectations. Do you ever have that same struggle?" Not usually. Mostly because I'm just at peace with not, like, I know from the beginning I'm not going to be able to accomplish what's in my brain. I have enough experience to know that, and so I don't let that bother me. It's just, I enjoy the process enough that the end result not living up to my hopes and expectations is fine. It's just fine. Look at all these delightful chains to choose from. think it definitely behooves me to go dark with the chain. Like, not this pinky purple looking chain. And I'd love something kind of unique. I really like the square links on this, but then I also really like the round links on this and feel like this is maybe a little more to scale to what I'm trying to accomplish. Emerson says, thanks for the reply. I'll have to give that mentality a try. Yeah, I don't know how much of that is, like, personality that's just like, you know, you got the personality you got, and how much you can just, like, tell yourself something. Like, to me, it's something that just built up over time. So, yeah, I hope that's something you can just, like, hop into and get you doing art again. That'd be great. See, so I think if I have a jump ring attached to each of these, and then oh, interesting. I didn't see these ones. This is even a better scale, and it's pretty much the same kind of brassy gold as the rest of his stuff. I think I'm gonna go with that. That's really cool. It's only got 2 jump rings though, so either have to go with silver jump rings and paint them, or forego jump rings. Try it without first and see what happens. This is gonna be tricky. So I know there's all these tools for doing jewelry stuff like this, but I don't think I have those tools. Open that. This guy is too big to get in there. Oh, what else do I have? What I need is something like this, but that continues to get wider so that I can push it in and open that loop more. Well, maybe this will work. Just pull it off. Assuming I can do that without breaking it. There we go. And then can actually fit it around this. Probably. But then how do I close it around both of those? That's the tricky part. Let's see what happens if I use silver jump ring. at that size, much easier to work with. Still not sure about closing it. So just do this. Imagine I could do that and then super glue it in place. It'd probably work. You know, I have needle nose pliers that keep disappearing. Those would really be ideal. Damon says, paint the silver jump rings black and need yourself 2 sets of needle nose pliers. Yes, I do. One moment, I think I might know where some are. Alright, here's some really crappy options. And okay, I'm going to order needle nose pliers as soon as I get done here. This is ridiculous. I should probably just wait to do this until I get them. Actually, I'm going to Costco. I should just buy some at Costco. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna wait till I have the right tools to do this. Looks like I'm pulling his entrails out through his nether regions. Okay. Well, the song goes, it doesn't hurt so bad. Okay. Damon says they are nice and super cheap from Harbor Freight. Yeah. If there was a Harbor Freight close to me, I would totally get one. Definitely gonna have plenty of chain. Looks like I only need like ½ an inch times 4, so about 2 inches of chain. It might look like I have at least 10 inches here, so that's cool. I think the grime worked really well. Yeah, okay, this is a good stopping point. Can do the chain work and such. either tomorrow or some other time. Oh yeah, we're streaming again tomorrow, so you'll probably see me do the chain tomorrow with my magical new tool called needle nose pliers, which I know I probably have 12 of them somewhere in this garage. They're just not where I know where they are right now. So Damon says, like butt dressing a deer. Yep, just like that. And I'm sure that the stuff you pull out of a deer's butt is probably just silly putty, right? That's what comes out of there. Okay, so great to have you guys on this surprise Tuesday stream, and we'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday for a not surprise Wednesday stream. See you guys later.